Hey guys! For those who don't know me, my name's Jasmine. I'm a qualified counsellor and all-round awesome person, and I'm going through the next big stage of my life, which is weight loss surgery! And here I am, 12 months post-tinkering, minus a few days. And when I look back on the person I was before I had my fuel tank tinkered with to now, the difference is like comparing apples and oranges. But the other thing is that I've realised, particularly in this last month, that I really need to manage some of my expectations. But it might be best I go into that in a little bit. For right now, for the final time, let's have a look at my statistics. As a little side note there, I think I jinxed myself last month in saying I would be happy if I stayed the weight that I was then, because in this last month I've only lost 1 kilo. But side note over, let's get into the before. So before I started tinkering, I was at 171.8 kilos. I honestly thought I was a little lighter than that, but when I saw that number on the scale, when I saw my surgeon, my jaw was on the floor. I was shocked. But what's more was that I did not feel confident in myself. Physically, I couldn't run. I couldn't really do much of anything. When I went to the gym as my last ditch attempt before deciding, yeah, I'm gonna get the private health insurance and do this whole thing, I was so embarrassed going to the gym at that time, because I would always have to do an alternative exercise to make things easier for me, but even those alternatives were too advanced for me. I was always run down. I tired very easily. All in all, I was this fat, unmotivated, insecure excuse of a human. Going forward to tinkering day, which is when this before shot was taken, I was at 159.8 kilos. Now, mind you, the weight was lost during a pre-operation diet where I weaned myself onto the Optifast shakes and increased my daily water intake so that I could more, easily take on the actual pre-op diet, which at first glance was way too intimidating for me to take on straight off the bat. Fast forward a little bit to roughly 3 months post tinkering, when I started seeing results and first dropped a dress size, like in this picture here. That's when I really started seeing those results physically, and that was when I felt I really had the motivation to just keep striving towards my personal goal and towards my surgeon's goal of losing 100 kilos. Then around 8 months post-tinkering, I had to have my gallbladder extracted, and this came rather suddenly for me. I had 2 attacks in the space of a week and had to get to the point where I was scared to consume anything, to go to the emergency room and get my gallbladder extracted. But it was at this point where I started to see my weight loss slow a little bit. Now mind you, this is typical around the 6 to 12 month mark, where your weight loss starts to slow a bit because your stomach is healing a lot more, you're able to consume a bit more than what you did in the first few months, but also your body's getting to its new normal. Which brings me to now. So at this point, I've dropped about 3-4 dress sizes, depending on which brand it is, of course. And mentally, I'm so much more confident in myself. Before, I wouldn't have even thought about going to the gym and trying to jog because I knew I couldn't. Now when I go to the gym, yeah, I'll go for a jog on the treadmill. Sure, I'll be puffed out within a few minutes, but I am still able to jog. I've also found myself a bit more courageous and even more willing to try new things. I've taken on some new hobbies, taken on, learning to roller skate of all things. I recently bought myself a trampoline, but I've even taken some new steps in terms of my dating life. I mean, okay, yes, I'm not dating anybody at the moment, but I'm going out there and meeting new people, which is more than what I did pre-tinkering. Overall, with the loss of 65 kilos, I'm seeing myself as a worthwhile person. There's no doubt that bariatric surgery, no matter what type you go for, yes, you will lose weight, but you also gain a new version of yourself, a more confident, perhaps lively. You get the chance to become more of that person that you've always wanted to be, not just in size, but in personality, in self-confidence, in physical ability, in terms of hobbies and things like that you've always wanted to do. You have the chance to go and do that. And it's for those reasons that aren't exactly covered by your surgeon when you first meet them, that me personally, I am so grateful to myself for taking that leap and going for the bariatric surgery. But on the flip side, I haven't met all of my goals yet. My personal goal for this whole thing is to reach about 90 kilos and be able to fit into my year 10 formal dress. It also represents for me a time when I knew I was slender, and a time where I was happy with myself physically. So I really wanted to get into that dress again. I tried it on this week. Now, okay, I don't fit into it at the moment, but I'm close. I mentioned it to a couple of my colleagues, and I was telling them how disappointed I was because I also weighed myself that day and I didn't lose as much as I thought I would. And then I mentioned about how this bloody dress wouldn't fit. And my colleague turned around to me and said, well, if it's any consolation, I'm definitely not the same size that I was when I was 16. Some people might be, but I surely am not. And that made me think, holy crap, you're right. But it really got me thinking, why did I want to fit into that dress particularly? And I did touch on it a moment ago. It was because that dress was a physical symbol of when I was last happy with my weight and happy with my size, shape and everything else. But is that to say I'm not happy now? Not at all. I'm proud of everything I've done so far. So I started thinking, do I really need to fit into that dress again to be happy? And my answer was no, I don't need to. What's more is that conversation with my colleague, I think, emphasized to me just how far-fetched that idea was for me, nearing 30, to try and fit into a dress that I wore when I was 16. So it really got me reevaluating what my goal is. And I guess setting up more realistic goals for myself. What's more is that I tried to imagine myself losing another, 15 kilos as opposed to 35. And I can see myself losing another 15 kilos. Like, I can see myself looking at myself in the mirror and saying, yeah, I'm still healthy, I'm slim, I look damn good. As opposed to losing 35 more kilos, and all I can imagine myself being is skin and bone. Don't get me wrong, if I get to 70 kilos and I don't look sickly, I will be eating those words. But I just don't see that happening. So it's at this point, 12 months post-tinkering, that I'm adjusting my goals to something a bit more realistic in light of what I've achieved so far where I've been at the last couple of months and where I'm heading. So to anyone who's at 12 months and are feeling disappointed in themselves because they haven't reached their surgeon's goal, or because they're not where they thought they'd be at this time, or anything like that, I would say you can still lose weight 12 months, 2 years, 5 years post tinkering. You can still get healthier. But I think it's at the 12 months. I think it's a great time to really reflect on your goals for yourself, your surgeon's goals for yourself, be it scale-wise, size-wise, anything like that, and really think, is this realistically attainable? Because a lot of things change as you grow. And know that your journey does not stop 12 months post-tinkering. Well, I say that though, this video series ends with this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings over the last year or so. If you have, like this video, share it to other people who might need to hear this message or any of my previous messages, and subscribe, because I have every intention to put up more videos, maybe a bit more sporadically, when I do reach certain goals. And if people are interested, I may even look at doing another series on the skin removal procedure. But until next time, I see you guys, whether it be via YouTube, in real life, on Facebook, anything like that. Know in yourself that you are awesome, in case no one's told you today, and I'll see you around. Farewell.